Hello YouTube, this is Fortan Rafi, and I just wanted to say that I've personally been asking myself why are many players so bad. So that's why I came up with my way of teaching you how to play Fortzone. The inspiration to this video was by Tron Popo. If you don't know him, he is a very popular YouTuber. Let me just show his channel real quick. Give me a minute. If you know him, then just know that he's a really good guy. He always knows what to play, how to play, and I just want to say that you should give him some love, make the subscribe button, turn all notifications on for his channels, and just support him. Get him to 1k subscribers, he really deserves it. And now, let me show you my presentation that I've made for you. First of all, we have the checking list, which I personally made for. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous because this is my first video with voice, and I'm a bit bad at concentrating, so sorry if sorry if I stuttered too much. Anyways, we have first the versions and the difficulty of every version. Yes, there are multiple versions for Forza, which I call versions, but are actually just the websites where you can play Forza on the best on. Then we will talk a bit about the player and with the avatar and what you can do with it in the game. Then there is the different type of players, which is a pretty common knowledge that you need to understand. Then I will explain to you how every weapon works and basically why it is for them. Then we have some tactics that I've developed over the past few months that I've played this game, and also some tricks. And then we just end the presentation with the buffs and the infos to them. First, let's start with the versions and the difficulty. Mainly, there are 3 sites on Fortzone that you can play on. The most optimal sites are Crazy Games, which is, for my reason, the hardest version because there's the biggest player base, and most of them are just too good, even for me. And there are the most bugs that I have ever experienced. The mortar buff is still working, the Duke glitch is working, the invest bug is working, and I don't know what to say. And the bad thing is, it's only for PC, even I can play it. Then we have Yandex, which is a Russian site that I personally use because it is the version I mostly play on. Yes, there are a bit less skilled players, but there are also very good ones, like Zotek, which I will show you after the presentation. And also, the only bugs we have there are going underground, or just going with the terrain. Then the Duke glitch, and I think it was the Invis that is the only one that was working again. And the best part is you can play on mobile and PC, which is the best version. Then we have Fortzone.net, which is basically just an info site, but had also a version playable for it. This is the easiest version in my opinion because there is a really odd feature that I wish was still there but would make the game more unstable. That is where grenades would work like this. You throw them, it hits an enemy, it instantly explodes. This was the craziest feature that ever got added to Fortzone, but it got deleted like 8 months ago, according to my knowledge. And yes, there are also cheaters, which I've mostly fought. Didn't win any of them. Yeah, and it's still that bad. And yeah, that is it from the sites. Now a bit about Crazy Games. As I just said, it has the most players with the skills, most bug abusers, and also cheaters. As I already told you, Questar makes a lot of videos on Crazy Games, and he often explains us how cheaters work. There are still the most bugs working. You cannot play Crazy Games with players from Yandex or Fortzone.net. I can just say that .net is like a site where you need to play on this side to play with others. And this is the hardest version to play on, personally for me, but for you PC players, you can just play it, like, whatever. Then we have Yandex, this is a pretty stable version, in my opinion, or I don't actually make the routes, I don't have that much knowledge, I just played the game, gathered infos, and learned how to be a pro. Yeah. And the rest I don't need to play. Now we just talk a bit about the player. The player is, right when you start, you would just have the normal player model. If you go to the friends world, yeah, you can stand still, you can just walk around, or if you're in the lobby, you just stand still, do nothing, or you just go on the customization button and can customize him with gems and new accessories. Which is, I think, a bit of the waste, but at least there are some cool combinations out there. Then we get to the combat part when you load into a match. You get a health bar with 3000 units, which I had checked. Personally, it took me 2 months to realize that the player has a certain amount of health. And let me just say, the grenade does 15,000 damage, as I found out. To players, but not to buildings. He gets some new abilities, like a 6-slot inventory with the starter axe, the ability to build walls, ramps, and platforms. With wood, you can get by destroying trees and other things on the map. Yeah, and he basically can collect wood, stone, steel, guns, the ammo for the guns, some buffs, and robots, and food. And he can interact and kill other players or bots, just like what you see. And that's basically was it. Now we come to the different type of play styles, which I would call them. Then we have the normal players, who just plays the game normally, like walk around, maybe build a sky base, and then just camps there until it is 1v1, and then just, like, yeah. Then we have hard sweats, like me, mostly just rushing in and trying to kill every enemy as fast as possible, which sometimes work, but it can lead to many losses. Then we have the runners, which I personally hate the most. Even more than cheaters, they just run. When they know that you are good, they just run. You are not like 50 meters away and they just run. They either run to a car or just waste your time by just sitting in a car and driving wheelies or just donuts around the fucking zone, bro. Sorry for swearing. I never do that again. Then we have bug abusers, which is like on Yandex, personally just not immortal abusers, the dupe abusers, and like just guys who go underground and just camp there and say they're skilled. Yes, I actually find them in the lobby and they say, I beat a high skill level player. Now I'm pretty cool. Yeah, buddy. Everyone can go under the map, bro. And then, yeah, we have the cheaters. They are really annoying. I faced a lot of them. This is really just annoying. Like, all I do is just use illegal tools and plugins or just manipulate the code, like get faster attack speed, run 10 times faster than usual, and just make your life miserable. Now we get to the weapons, which I made a tier list for it. I used the website and just made some pretty standard choices. The D and C rank I don't need to explain. The B rank, I actually have to say, the miniguns could be A tier, but only if you have pretty good aim. That is the only thing I have to say about that. The A tier is just depends on the level of the gun that you have for the third, fourth, and fifth gun in the row. And then the S tier, I don't need to explain anything. They are just broken. Even Questan, I would just call Trumpopo now Questan. Even he agrees to this weapon slot. The damages are completely dumb because I found out the level 3 minigun, which is the third in the S category, does 120 damage with a headshot. And it has 16 bullets, so you can quickly calculate that, which is like about 7,000 damage, which 30 bullets only would need with headshots to kill a player. Bots can be killed like way easier. And then we have every tier list explained, in my opinion. The S rank, yeah, we have the best damage, and it is good for pressuring the enemy into just wasting their hits. And they are very popular to use, like Kristan uses them, I use them, pro players use them, some YouTubers use them. I can't name many, but also check out Spidey Gaming, which I will also show at the end of the presentation. Then we have the A rank, it's just good for damage, and also the early game, when you have like no weapons, just this weapon or like some food or the throwable. I don't recommend throwables. I only recommend either the grenade, which is already S tier, and maybe the oil, because when you are a runner, which I personally would hate, then you would need something to refill your car, and oil refills about 50% of the car. Yeah, C rank, yeah, C and D I will not explain, even B not. Then we now come to the part before the end, which is tactic and tricks, which I have personally developed. This tactic is like the first thing I found out about runners. I found it very annoying that I always faced runners, so I just randomly threw sometime a grenade and it just exploded him, which is pretty insane. So I called it anti-runner, which the ingredients to need that do that is you need a grenade and a runner, which is personally, I don't know, noobs. I will not call you guys noobs, but still. Whoever is a runner who is a noob. The problem is you first need him to run. So, you need to get him low. And then, he runs to a car because he knows that this is the fastest way to run. But this is exactly what you want, because you just throw down the grenade under the car. When he gets in the car goes kaboom. And yeah, and the runner is dead. This is a very easy tactic. The only problem with it could be that maybe some of you have a skill issue, which I will not hope. Then we have ramp bomb. Oh, this tactic, I already used this on so many noobs. The materials you need are some woods, grenades, and patience. Patience is really important. And it works like this. You build up with your ramps. If a player is chasing you, you just ramp up with your ramps. And the only thing that you need to do is block behind you. If he tries to break the ramp, throw a grenade after 2 hits on the wall, and then just jump away. And he will just likely be dead after he broke the wall. This is really easy to understand. The only counters, and that can many pro players do, is jumping around the barrier before they even reached it, or just building around like a completely apprentice. Yeah, and this is now the last part which I was talking about. From my knowledge, just buffs. The buffs are the speed buff, which gives 10% increased movement speed, but it has also a negative side. It loses its effect when you are swimming, sneaking, basically. Which is like when you go down and up, like if you want a team, then you lose your speed effect and just gain the normal speed amount. But it can be regained if you collect another speed boost. The max speed boost you can get is 50, and this is very fast. I mean, I've chased down runners with that and it was dumb. Next we have the burger buff, which basically adds 100 health points to the player's current max health. It actually has a pretty good value because it can be used to counter the immortal glitch. If the immortal player basically runs into this buff, it will regain some health points because the burger adds health points, and since they are at 0, they will get basically 100 health points and are basically one shot to any kind of weapon you have. And yeah, the max extra health points you can get is 5x, which means you get 500 extra health points. Then we have the ghost buff, which in my opinion is like the best buff, even better than speed. It basically gives you a 5% chance to not get hit by any source of damage. Neither it's the storm damage, the pickaxe damage, or just any gun damage. And no, grenades don't count as damage. Yes, they do damage, but still they are a 1-time 100% chance hit combo. This is, in my opinion, the best buff ever, and the max no hit chance is 25%, which is basically means like from 20 bullets only theoretical 15 wouldn't hit you. which is basically my closest calculation. Then we have the jump buff, which is the perfect one for runners, because it adds 10% increased jump power to your jump, which basically means you jump 10% higher. The max is 50% jump higher, and you can basically become Mario. Let's go. Then at last we have the shield buff, which adds 75 points, and I call them immortal points because they literally don't count to your normal max health. And the max shield points you can get times 5 is 375. And yeah, that was basically it with my presentation.